Sup fam, welcome back. I'm Taz and this is another episode of security, privacy, and a lot of other bullshit. So last week I talked about ballot measures. This week I want to get down on voter fraud and election security myths. Over the last 4 years, the one who shall not be named but looks like a fucking orange sphincter. If you don't know what a sphincter is, that is an asshole, and his mouth is literally shaped like an asshole, and he actually only spits shit out of it. His dumb ass has been spreading so much misinformation about voter fraud and manipulating our entire country. In 2016, Donald Trump claimed that he lost the popular vote because of voter fraud and non-citizens voting. But according to science, data, and facts, that's not true at all.
The White House is standing by President Donald Trump's unsubstantiated claim that millions of people voted illegally in the November election.
The president does believe that. He has stated that before. I think he stated his concerns of voter fraud and people voting illegally during the campaign. And he continues to maintain that belief based on studies and evidence that people have presented to him.
Verbatim, he said, "In addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote. So if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally, nobody voted illegally. And there were only 30 incidents of potential non-citizens voting out of 23.5 million votes." My blood pressure will continue to rise if I talk about this and all of the fucking lies that are spread, that are perpetuated by the person that's supposed to be the president of the United States. So I'm not going to say anything more about this. All you gotta know is that voter fraud isn't the thing that Donald Trump is making it out to be. You don't have to fear voter fraud messing with our elections. Rather, you gotta fear Donald Trump manipulating larger society and committing his own fraud to get the public to vote a specific way, which sounds like his bitch ass committing voter fraud. But I do bring up this entire conversation around voter fraud and all of the different tweets and information that Donald Trump has been spreading on the internet, because we're in the age of misinformation and information reaching our screens in nanoseconds. We gotta be careful what we click, what we share, and what we consume. So now I'm gonna dive into some of the kind of most common election security myths that are out here in the ether. First one being that the biggest threat to voting machines are foreign attacks, which I can understand where people are coming from. There are definitely national state threats that exist that are a threat to our voting machines, sure. But most voting machines are not connected to the internet. And in order to hack the machine, you would have to do it in person. And the way that you can avoid this, and if you are a volunteer or a poll worker watching right now, you can be a bit more cognizant. Watch out for people carrying like screwdrivers or USBs or small devices when they're going in to vote. And if they're taking excessive amount of time, you know, some people do take longer time. Don't be like a Karen about it, but you know, check in on them and make sure there's nothing fishy going on. Number 2, election security requires highly specialized training. Yes, there are a lot of elements that are technical, that are happening at the county level, on the back end, that poll workers and regular people aren't aware of, that need a special type of training in order to maintain and monitor the entire infrastructure. But as it relates to poll workers, volunteers, anybody involved in the election day work, that's not the case at all. You can be just a regular old person and know just enough to be a part of the security narrative. So if you are nervous about that and you're unsure about cybersecurity as it relates to election security, the best thing that you can do is When you are putting all of your volunteers and poll workers through a training, add cybersecurity best practices to that. Teach them about social engineering, phishing, different attacks and methods that they can look out for to make sure that there isn't anything weird going on and they're aware of it. The more we can equip everyone involved with the entire ecosystem of the election, the more secure we're going to be. Now, the last myth that I want to talk about is the whole thing about Election Day presents the greatest threat that we have. And I don't think that's true at all. I think everything that has been happening prior to the elections, the voter fraud comments, the misinformation, the continuous push of propaganda and manipulation through the analytics and information that they have on us, and just the psychological warfare that goes on prior to elections is the threat itself. The threat isn't citizens going out to vote. In my opinion, the threat are dictators that are spreading lies to manipulate voters from going out and making the vote happen.
They're sending millions of ballots all over the country. There's fraud. They found them in creeks. They found some with the name Trump, just happened to have the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots. This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen.
So the biggest lesson that I could push today is, please, for the love of freedom and not having a fucking bigot in office, please go vote. Go vote today. Make sure you are voting, getting people to vote. Do your thing. It will change and make a difference. So please go vote. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned, and we will meet again next week. I'm Taz, and this is Security, Privacy, and a lot of other bullshit. No! Another one. Oh my God, I'm killing this tree.